So you really want to build a business that will give you freedom and fulfillment and flexibility, but your schedule is mad between family and full-time work and all the responsibilities that life will throw at you. The idea of starting a business feels a bit far-fetched at the moment because you know that's going to take up a lot of your time, and it really does feel impossible, but it is possible. And if I can do it, then you can do it too. And in this video, I'm going to look at ways in which you can use just 30 minutes of your day to make an impact in your business. If that sounds useful, stick around, let's have a chat. So first of all, just acknowledge that how you're feeling right now is no reflection on your motivation and really how badly do you want this. It's overwhelm, and that's a normal feeling when you have all these different conflicting responsibilities going on in your life. Many times when you get advice about how to start a business, it feels like you need this whole workspace and you need to free up all of this time so that you can just go and explore your passion. And in reality, for most of us, we don't have the time. Sometimes it's literally just small pockets of time that's available. But if you use them in the right way, you can build something really powerful. So one of the first things that you really have to do is analyze exactly where your time is going. I worked full-time in a demanding job. I was single parenting. I wanted to start a business. And then I was doing other things. I was creating costumes for Notting Hill Carnival. That was taking up a lot of my time. And when I sat back and analyzed where my time was going, there were certain things that had to be cut out. One of the big things that was cut out because it took up my entire year was Notting Hill Carnival. And it wasn't just because of time, it was other things. That's a whole other video. But when you sit down and do a proper time audit of what you're doing every day and each week and where your time is going, you will be surprised at some of the time that we actually waste. Some of that time might be spent scrolling, and that doesn't mean that you're lazy. Sometimes you're sitting there scrolling, and I know I do it too, and not because you don't have anything to do, but because you've got so much going on up here that you're not quite sure which one to do. So what we're going to talk about today is how to line up that time in such a way that when you do have that spare time, you know exactly what to do with it. So the second thing that you want to do, and in order to have that time lined up properly, is to have a space, whether it's a notebook or an app on your phone or somewhere where you can just do brain dumps whenever ideas come to you. Sometimes we do make time within our planning sessions for, generating ideas, but that isn't always the best use of our time, because have you ever sat down to brainstorm and then nothing's storming? Nothing's happening. When you sit down and think, okay, so now I'm going to think, crickets. Those ideas come to you at random times during the day. You might be driving, you might be waiting for somebody, and it's usually when you're not thinking about it that those ideas come. So during those times, you want to always be ready so that you can scribble things down or record into something so that you've got your ideas when you're ready to sit down in those small pockets of time. Because if you don't have those ideas ready, sitting down and trying to figure out what to do in those 30 minutes is going to take up your whole 30 minutes or even more. So surprise, surprise, you've analyzed your time, you've done a bit of a time audit, and you have found 30 minutes. I'm going to show you how you take those 30 minutes and break them down into 10-minute slots so that you can make meaningful impact on your business in just 10 minutes at a time. So in your first block of 10 minutes in your 30 minutes, you want to go back to your idea bank, the notebook that you wrote all your ideas in, or the app that you were recording things in. You want to go back to that and choose a theme or a topic for the week that you're going to be focusing on. You also want to think of the platforms that you're using. And from that, you are looking for ideas on what does my audience need to hear this week? What advice do they need? Maybe I can share something about lessons that I've learned. What problems can you solve? And think about whether this is going to be a carousel, it can be a reel, it can be a long form video, it can be your newsletter. Where are you going to post it? That's your first 10-minute block. For your second block of 10 minutes, I want you to think about engagement and connections. You're not thinking about selling. Right now, it's about relationship building. Find 2 people who fit your target audience, or 2 people that you want to collaborate with or connect with. Or it could be one of each. And you're going to go out there and reply to a post, a story, leave a meaningful comment, or send a thoughtful question or comment in their DMs. This is not about selling. This is about starting conversations and building relationships, because that's how trust and connections are built. Remember that this new journey that you're taking, of one where you're going into business, is one that's really difficult to do on your own. So you have to start thinking about building your tribe, who you're connecting with, who you can collaborate with, who your audience are, and how you're showing up. Think your brand, think your reputation, think the connections. Who are the people that are in your corner? Who are the people that speak the same language as you when it comes to your growth and development of your business? Use those 10 minutes to reach out to them. So now you're at your last 10-minute block. And what you want to do now is go back to the idea that you chose earlier. And now you want to write a post. It just needs to be simple. You want to share a tip, you want to share an idea, you want to share an understanding of how your audience is feeling. You want to be able to show up as an authority. And here again, it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be helpful. On some platforms, there are people who write reams and reams and reams. That doesn't have to be you. You can stand out as the person who writes short and succinct posts that get straight to the point, solves the problem, and goes directly to what your audience is struggling with. So if you're waiting for this huge block of time that will come around so that you have the time to sit back and build your perfect dream, it may never come. And if you do get that big space of time, it may have come at the detriment of something else, which, God forbid, will leave you with even less time than when you started. So stop waiting. You really need to start where you are and with what you have. And those 30 minutes, if you do them consistently, they will compound faster than you think, because it isn't perfect conditions that create freedom. It's consistency that turns into momentum. And I guarantee you, if you start using those 30 minutes wisely, you will be surprised where you will find other pockets of time to continue making an impact. So I hope that was helpful. And if it resonated with you, you might want to check out my previous video where I spoke about how to juggle the 9 to 5, your family, and starting a business without burnout. So I can't tell you that it's going to be easy, but it does get easier when you break things down and remain consistent. So take care, and until the next video, bye.